Hi there, this is Janet Gershon-Siegel, and I'm the Lonely Writer. This is serious social media help for the independent author, who is the author who does not yet have an agent. Today I'm going to be, actually all this month, I'm doing daily prompts for NaNoWriMo. Now these prompts are kind of in sort of a mixed-up order, so if you just go from one to the next, you're probably not going to get much of a coherent story. But the idea here is that you should be able to sort of pick and choose, dive in when you think you've got something interesting to write about. And of course, if you move them around or whatever, you're not going to hurt my feelings. Now, today's prompt is maybe a little strange. It's the word early. Now, of course, we all know what this word means. It's, of course, a very easy to define word. So what do we mean when we say someone is early? Now, is it that maybe something is premature? Maybe it's not in time yet. If a baby is born early, it can be very dangerous, actually. It might mean that someone is overly obsessed with punctuality. It might be that they're organized, but it also can mean that they're a bit OCD. It might be that they're fast. With what they do, like you hand in your assignment early or that sort of thing. But being fast isn't necessarily a good thing either, because yes, maybe, certainly you should get your assignments in on time. But at the same time, if you move too quickly, maybe you're missing some of the subtle details. Maybe it's that you're just obsessed with getting in as fast as possible and just sort of releasing it and, oh my God, get it off me. Getting your hands off this assignment or whatever you're doing as quickly as possible, which isn't necessarily the best way to handle things. And so the question is also, is being early is it solely about the clock? Now, there's other connotations here, and some of these connotations may not be quite so positive. I had talked about this a little bit before, about things like OCD, or maybe being obsessive, or maybe missing details because you just want to kind of get the bare bones out, get the basics, and just let it go. Another connotation is that maybe somebody is so underutilized that even the smallest things kind of get them overly excited. So if you've got somebody who's working for you who's only got about 20% of their time taken up, then if you give them an extra assignment, then unless they're hanging around and playing games all day long, which that does happen at work, obviously. But if they're just sitting there and twiddling their thumbs, then they might be really, really excited about just this one thing that you give them. And in particular, they might even have an agenda where they try to get it to you as quickly as possible, because they want to try to see if you'll assign them more work. For people who are responsible, that could very well be the motivation there. Or maybe someone is so prim and they're so uptight that they're going to be looking down on people who not even necessarily are late, but people who are simply on time. If I tell you we're going to meet at 10 o'clock and I walk in at 9:53, then yes, I'm early. And if I'm sitting there and I'm looking at my watch and then you walk in at 10 o'clock on the dot, you're on time. You weren't late, but I was waiting for 7 minutes. The thing is, whose fault is that? It's not yours. It's mine. This also might have something to do with people being kind of uptight and kind of rigid, where everything is lockstep, that if they are that obsessed with earliness, with punctuality, then they might be obsessed and overly organized and kind of OCD about a lot of other things. So earliness, so temporal organization, as it were, over-organization might be a little symptomatic of a few other things. It doesn't mean that it's bad to be early. Certainly, it can be good, and it can be very courteous too, I might add. But when it becomes obsessive, then of course that's other things. So hopefully that gives you some inspiration. So what does early mean to you and to your characters? So finally, this is Janet Gershon-Siegel, and I'm the Lonely Writer, because an independent writer never has to be alone. Thank you so much for listening, and good luck with NaNoWriMo.